What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me some more. Appreciate it when you guys spend some of your precious time with me. This is another episode of Watch These Movies. It's where I recommend 5 movies for you to watch that I don't think have gotten their deserved due. In this case, or like in most cases actually, I like to start with a movie that's pretty family friendly and then work my way all the way over to the other end of the spectrum to normal people shouldn't be watching this stuff. So let's go ahead and get started on it. And like I said, we're gonna start on the tame side, and it's a movie that it's in a weird spot for me because I think it's popular. I know a lot of people have seen it, and a lot of people seem to like it, but it still feels really underrated. So I'm gonna push this out just to some more people, just to see if I can get a few more people to watch this movie. And it is a superhero movie. I love superhero movies, if you did not know that. And this one focuses on the kids. This one is Sky High. So Sky High is really about a high school full of the kids of superheroes. Actually, they're growing up as superheroes, and most of them have powers. Some do not. And the main character right here is one who does not. He is the son of Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's character, and Kurt Russell's character is the greatest superhero known to man. He's basically Superman, and I forget what his name is now. His actual name is in the movie. I forget, but he's basically Superman. And here's his son. So they go to Sky High, and what the administration does would actually be considered cruel if we did this in real schools. But they separate the kids into 2 groups: heroes and sidekicks. The heroes are the kids that have all the best powers. The kids that have weaker powers or no powers at all, they call them sidekicks, and actually run them through 2 different curriculums. It was pretty funny watching them go through that process. And our guy here, like I said, he has no superpowers, so he gets lumped in with the sidekicks, and it becomes this kind of underdog story. And of course, the villain emerges, and somebody has to save the world. So this one is a really fun one. If you got younger ones who like superhero movies, they will definitely get a kick out of this one. If you like superhero movies and you haven't seen this one, you should get a kick out of this. Again, don't be that guy going looking for, it's got to be dark, gritty, and brooding, and all those things, or it's got to be a Marvel movie. It's not that, but it's a pretty good movie, a Disney movie. It's just good times, really fun movie. So check out Sky High. The next movie is also family friendly for the most part. There's a few choice words in here. It's a PG-13 movie, but it is a spin-off from the Barbershop franchise. It stars Queen Latifah, and it is Beauty Shop. So she plays a lady named Gina. If you've watched the Barbershop movies, in particular Barbershop 2 is when Gina shows up. She has a small part in that movie, where she's actually running the salon next door to Calvin's in the Barbershop series. By the 3rd movie, she's actually gone, which is funny. But anyway, they gave her this spin-off, and it takes her back, or it starts with her working at another salon that is actually owned by this gentleman here, who is played by Mr. 6 Degrees himself, Kevin Bacon. And he's got a French name, I can't remember what it is, but it does play a part in the movie actually. And he's a real snooty guy, and he and Gina, they clash, and he fires her, so she strikes out on her own and says, you know what, I'm gonna get my own beauty shop and I'm gonna succeed on my own. So this movie is about her trying to do just that. Kevin Bacon emerges as a villain in the movie. Well, he's really one right from the beginning, but he's a villain in the movie. And if you were looking at the picture, you can see that this is an outstanding cast, along with Latifah and Kevin Bacon. We got Andy McDowell over there. We got Sherry Smith, Jaimin Hunsu, I think that's how you say his name. Please correct me, guys. If you know how to say his name, this when we're talking about this gentleman right in the middle. If you know how to say his name, please let me know. I do not know. I can never get it right. Keisha Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy on The Cosby Show, she is in the movie. movie. Alicia Silverstone is in the movie. Alfred Woodard is here, and they're all just having a blast in the beauty shop. It turns out to be a really cool rom-com. So yeah, if you are not a rom-com fan, I get it, but this is not a bad one. Beauty Shop starring Queen Latifah. This is right when she started getting into that mode of becoming a leading lady, and unorthodox leading lady, because she definitely does not fit the Hollywood beauty standards that are out there. So kudos to her for making it, transitioning from a huge rap star to a movie star to a businesswoman all around. She's an amazing person, and this is a pretty good movie. Next movie is a movie. Now we're gonna get into the more adult-oriented stuff. This one is a raunchy comedy from the '80s, and it stars Tom Hanks. So some of you already know what this is because it does have a following, this movie. And today we see a lot of raunchy comedies come out, and people forget about this one that was right out there and was pretty popular back when I was a teenager, and that's when I saw it first. And it is not what you would think if you didn't know any better. This is not something you would think Tom Hanks would star in. And this movie is Bachelor Party, and you can see a very young Tom Hanks right there in the middle. So Bachelor Party, he plays a pretty normal guy. He's actually he's a working guy. He's not destitute or anything like that, but he happens to be engaged to a woman whose family is very wealthy, and they don't approve of her marrying this guy who's not wealthy. In fact, her dad dislikes him so much that he hires her ex-boyfriend to try to break up their relationship, because he thinks that his daughter's still carrying the torch for this guy. And in reality, he's more carrying the torch for the guy. That's the kind of guy he wants for his daughter. There's also, so of course he's gonna have his bachelor party, and things just get way out of control. If you've seen Project X or movies like that where somebody has a party that goes out of control, this is in that mode. It's not big as Project X, but yeah, things get crazy. There's all sorts of people showing up to this party. There's even a woman and a donkey show up at the party at one point. It's really wild. And then to make things worse, to top it all off, the women's bachelorette party is not going so great, especially since they're wondering what the guys are doing at this bachelor party. So they're going to try to go over there and crash it. So if you're just looking for a turn your brain off, dumb, raunchy comedy that's going to make you laugh, check out Bachelor Party. It is definitely a different shade of Tom Hanks. If you're a younger person and you only know Tom Hanks from Forrest Gump forward, then you are in for a surprise. It's a different guy. Next movie is actually not as raunchy. I know I said I work further away from the spectrum as I go. This movie, from the family friendly side of the spectrum, I should say, this movie is not necessarily raunchier, but it is one that flew under the radar because it's an action movie, but it doesn't attack things like most action movies do. The movie stars Gina Carano. She's not a person, to be honest, that I'm a fan of. She's got some her politics are not my politics, let's put it that way. So I'll leave it at that. But this movie that she stars in is directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it is called Haywire. Now, if you know anything about Carano, though, she is or was an MMA star, legit MMA star, MMA fighter. So she definitely handles all the action in the movie fantastically, and she uses a lot of the MMA things in this movie. She plays a secret op, black agent kind of person, and a mission she's on doesn't go quite as planned. And when that happens, the people who hired you to do those kinds of jobs, they pretend you don't exist, or they do what they did here and have people start coming out trying to kill you. And there are lots of people coming out trying to kill Gina Carano's character in this movie, and so we get to see a good deal of action. And like I said, it's all filmed really well. So again, Steven Soderbergh is the director. If you're not familiar with him, just look him up, IMDb, Wikipedia, whatever you got to do. He's got a ton of credits. He's directed 20 some odd movies, I think. That's just going off the top of my head. Out of Sight is probably the one that most people know him for. Not really an action guy, but here he does an amazing job with it. And I'm gonna give, and we were talking about superheroes a little bit, I'm gonna give Marvel a little bit of grief. So I'm a big superhero movie fan. I'm a big Marvel fan. What you guys, if you're looking over my shoulder right here, I'm just gonna point up out of the frame. Even there's another shelf up here, and so almost all of the movies on that shelf, so going all the way across to right here, are superhero movies, and then all the way down to here, all of these are superhero movies. So I got plenty of them. I love superhero movies. Not a hater, not a Marvel hater. Like the MCU, love the MCU. But one of the things that bothers me is that in most of their movies, they got it right in a couple movies, like The Winter Soldier and Black Swan, more or less. Their fight scenes are pretty bad because there's so many jump cuts. And a lot of the times, the jump cuts are if a punch is thrown, and I'm doing a little demonstrating here, guys. So somebody will pull back to throw the punch, then they'll jump cut around, and you'll see the punch coming, maybe from a different angle, maybe from this side or that side, and then you'll get another jump cut, and you'll see the punch kind of land on the person or hit the person, and then they'll do this, wild head turn to show that they got hit. And it's just cut, and they do that with punches, with kicks, and it gets to be hard to watch, and you lose the impact. Well, in this movie, Soderbergh points the camera at it, steps out of the frame completely. When I say that, he's the director, so he's not literally in the frame, but he nor his editor, they're not doing a bunch of stuff to obscure the fight. They're just letting it happen, and Toronto's so good at it, and the people she's working with are really good at it, that it makes for some amazing fight scenes. Another thing that he does is there's not much of a score usually during this fighting. We're not getting a lot of music and swelling orchestral sounds. It's just watching these two people and hearing the sounds of the fight, and it can be pretty brutal. It's got a great cast. If you look at I'm taking a look at it. Other than Carano, Michael Fassbender's in it, Ewan McGregor, Bill Paxton, Channing Tatum, Antonio Banderas, Michael Douglas. So it's got a great cast. It needs it, and this is another part of the reason why I think it didn't do well at the box office. One, those fight scenes, they kind of make the movie. There are really quiet scenes, and a lot of quiet movies don't do particularly well with us American audiences. But the other part of that is Carano herself is not a very good actress. She's the lead character here, and she struggles with the dialogue. She struggles with conveying any type of emotion. She has a hard time with it. Even her very best work later on in The Mandalorian, she could only do one thing pretty much. She's not really a good actress. But she's so good in the fighting that this movie needs to be seen. So if you skipped out on Haywire, go ahead and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Again, I already know she's a bad actress, so don't come back and tell me, oh, she's terrible. I already know that. So let's move on to the last movie, guys. The last movie is the one I said I was referring to when I said at the beginning of the video, I'm working my way all the way over to normal people shouldn't be watching this stuff. And this movie is called Tokyo Gore Police. One of those movies that I gotta say, if you know, you know. If you don't, I'm gonna tell you just enough to let you know if you want to see it or not. The movie is just insane. There's really no other way to say it. I was racking my brain before I even started the video. What could I say about this movie? What kind of adjective could I pin to this movie to let you know how crazy it is? And insane is just it. I mean, if you want to say super duper insane, you can say that. So the movie gets a lot from RoboCop, and that movie, it's become a big hit, a classic, but it really is kind of insane itself. And if you don't know the story of RoboCop, it's that it's a little bit in the future from when the movie was filmed. So it takes place in the 90s. It's an 80s movie, and it's in Detroit. And the crime has gotten so bad, and corporations have also risen to such power that they've privatized the police in Detroit. So there's a corporation that owns the police, OCP, and that is the same thing that has happened here in Tokyo in this movie. Where did I put it upside down? I put it upside down. So that is the same thing that happens in Tokyo. There's also in RoboCop. There's lots of commercials, so to speak, in the commercial, where we get a lot of commercials in the movie, where we get a lot of satire coming through, and that happens here also. One other aspect that they got from a movie called The Warriors, and not Warrior with Tom Hardy, but The Warriors from the 70s, and I'll probably talk about that in another video, but is in that movie we have a radio DJ, and she's kind of giving us a little narration from time to time, kind of telling us, hey, you know, the Warriors are over here, go get them. So a similar thing happens here also with a dispatch person. So let's get to the rest of the story, because that's where it differs from RoboCop the most. In RoboCop, we get a band of bad guys, and yeah, they're ruthless, but they're organized crime, and if you've seen it, you know what happens. In this movie, it's not that. Their bad guys are what they call engineers. So the engineers are these different kind of people. So they pretty much exist to kill every person they come into contact with. Okay, if you're an engineer, you just kill whoever you come up. If somebody's walking past you on the street, you just go take them out, and you do so in some of the most brutal, crazy ways possible. Now, of course, when you do that, people are going to fight back. So when people fight back, if an engineer is damaged, if let's say something gets cut off or something is severely damaged, the engineer's body is going to repair itself, but not in the same way that it was originally. So it's going to grow back as something that can be used as a weapon. So, for instance, really early on in the movie, one of the engineers gets, I think it's really early in the movie, one of the engineers gets an arm cut off. The arm goes back, but not as an arm, but as a chainsaw. So now they have one arm and a chainsaw, and they can just continue trying to kill whoever's in their way. So they're definitely hard to kill. Our main character here is Ruka, and she is what's known as an engineer hunter. So she's basically working for cops. She's an engineer hunter, or working for that organization that owns the cops, I should say. And she's known as the best engineer hunter, and that is mainly because she likes killing people too. That's pretty much what she does. So we follow her as she tries to take out all the engineers, and of course, the plot widens, deepens, and things happen. And yeah, there's lots and lots of killing and lots of blood. So for instance, if somebody gets any cut, blood is just spewing out all over the screen. One scene, it even seems to be raining blood. So there's geysers of it all over the place. During every fight, it's just insane. Picture the scene in Kill Bill where she fights the crazy 88, and there's blood flying all over the place. A lot of times, it's even a lot more than that. So if that kind of appeals to you, if you just want to see some nuttiness, a movie that's straight bonkers, check out Tokyo Gore Police. It's insane. It's a fun time. Don't go looking for the deepest movie that's making the most salient points. That's not it. Though it does have lots of satire in it, and it does make lots of commentary about Japanese society, and a lot of it, to be honest with you, kind of goes over my head because I'm not 100% familiar with Japanese society. But you don't need that to enjoy the movie. If it's a movie, if you're not into the crazy insane movies, don't bother. But if you're into gore, it's in the title, Tokyo Gore Police. If you're into movies that are gory and crazy and just madness, that is one that you definitely have to check out. So guys, let me know if you have seen any of these movies, or if you think you would like to see any of these movies. If you have, what do you think of them? Am I crazy? Do I have some good points for you? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. We can have a good conversation about it. That's all I have for you on this one, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.